300 subscribers. Holy shit. I would have never thought in my day that this would have happened, but from the bottom of my heart, let me say thank you. Thank you so much for clicking these videos and hitting that subscribe button and hitting the like button. Because without you guys, I would probably, most likely, not be recording any of this, and I would just go ahead and finish my project without anybody knowing. But because of you guys and your interest, I'm gladly willing to share the information. I'm even willing to buy a 4K camera like this and buy a new microphone just to improve the video quality for you guys. Now, what we're going to be doing today is installing the A119 dash cam. This is the new big bad boy replacement for the A118, and we're going to be installing it into the Mercedes C300. Now, to celebrate 300 subscribers, I still can't wrap my head around that. To celebrate 300 subscribers, I'm not made out of money, but I want to thank you guys. I'm going to give away one A119 to a winner at random when we hit 500 subscribers. All you have to do is leave a comment in the section below. Just write something, whatever comes to your mind. Don't write anything mean, because I'm sure I'm just going to bypass that entirely. Just leave something down there, and then I will figure out a way to have Elvis go through there and pick out the winner. And I will obviously record that, because I don't think a rabbit has ever picked out a winner before in the history of man. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and jump into today's project and show you guys how to get to that step right there. So those of you that follow me on Instagram have already gone ahead and purchased this, because Amazon had an insane deal on this camera right here. Now, this is a camera that I love. I absolutely loved the A118C, and I'm gonna absolutely love the A119C. This is the new replacement for the 118. You can still get a 118. There's nothing wrong with this camera. Matter of fact, now they're even cheaper, and I think you can pick one up for about $50. So if you're interested in even a lower priced model, this is it. And the reason why I opt for the C is because the C stands for capacitor. And I'm gonna say this once, and trust me on this. Do not buy a dash cam that has a built-in battery. It will fail probably 1 year or 2 years down the road, and who knows, maybe that's the time that you're going to need it, because the battery is constantly being charged and discharged, and when you do things like that, it puts a stress on the actual battery, and then eventually it explodes. So with the heat from the cars, from them sitting out inside the sun and them baking, and then the cold weather for people up north, that really makes a huge impact on the lifespan of a battery model. I understand that some of you are like, well, what if I'm in a crash? You know, I can't take this out and I can't record. Guys, let's be realistic. If you're in a crash, the first thing you're going to be doing is freaking out. The second thing you're going to be doing is not even thinking about this. This thing is already doing its job. It's recording, so stop worrying about this. The second thing you're going to want to do is get out of the car and make sure everyone's okay. So chances are you're going to have your cell phone in your hands. Once you're done with all that, use your cell phone. It takes amazing video, probably better than this model and this model. So that being said, don't be afraid of getting a capacitor version. There's nothing wrong with these models. As a matter of fact, this one right here, I installed inside a truck in 2012, and it still runs perfectly and beautifully. This one right here is a brand new A119. What is the difference? The biggest difference is better night vision for nighttime recordings, and the other big, huge difference is this shoots in 2K. So you're gonna really have some nice high definition video. But if I take them out of the box and I put them side by side, you will see that they're practically the exact same unit. Yeah, the 119 is a little bit bigger by just a little hair, but they're practically the same. They got the exact same charging ports. This one has it on the back, this one has it here. They got the same bottoms, where they both would go in the exact same way. So if you have a 118 and you wanted to upgrade to the 119, all you'd have to do is just buy the camera and just drop it in if you've already done the hard wiring. So this is it. That's really it. That's the cameras right there. There's no really huge difference from the outside, just like every single iPhone. It's the inside that matters. So there's a huge performance difference in between the 119 and the 118. Now let's go ahead and show you how easy it is to install the 119 into the Mercedes. Alright guys, for this part of the install, I'm going to show you first the quick and easy way of doing it. What you will need for the quick and easy way. You will need one of these plastic body part removal tools. If you don't have one by now, I will put one in the description below for you guys to purchase, install. You will obviously need the camera. You don't have to buy this camera, but if you bought this camera, you wouldn't be sad, and you would actually be very, very happy that you made a wise investment in purchasing a really, really good camera. If you do happen to get a bad unit, do not leave a comment below. Contact the manufacturer, as I am not paid by them, and ask them for a new unit. I have never gotten one that is bad, but sometimes leprechauns exist. You will need some tape. I'll show you why later. And of course, our trusty and beloved Husky tool. Please, for the love of God, guys, if you guys are working on the Mercedes project or the Z3 project or any other foreign European car project, buy this tool. I'm not paid by Husky to do this. It's just a product that I believe in, and as you can tell, I've worn this thing to hell and back. It is a fantastic tool. You cannot go wrong with having this on hand. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to want to do is pull this thing down and give this thing a yank, just like that. And now we're going to remove this here. Do not try and remove this here if you do not have one of these, because you will damage the shit out of your headliner. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so the piece is down. Now the very next thing you're going to want to do is just pull on this and it'll just come off by itself. You can see it actually just pulled the headliner down too while it was at it, which is fine. That's what we wanted. Now we're going to go to this piece over here. Same procedure. Use our tool, pick away at it. This one's a little bit tricky. Put it back like this, start to spin it around to the front, and it'll actually detach itself. Fun little trick, right? So go ahead and put that somewhere safe. Now you have access to all of this to come down. And the reason why you want to do this is because you never just want to put your wires on this lip here. Because in the event that somebody actually touches the camera or something happens, the wires will come down and they'll obstruct your view. You always want to put your wires as far back past the hump as you can. So now that we have everything here in position, we can go ahead and start positioning our camera, which we're going to put on the passenger side of the vehicle, since we're going to be getting our power from the passenger side of the vehicle. I'm going to use the dot matrix that's up here to line up the camera. Now I also have tint here, so I'm going to have to make sure that the actual lens of the camera is below the tint line. And what's really, really neat about this particular camera design, when it's tucked in like this, you actually cannot see this from the outside, and it does not obstruct your view as a driver. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just line it up right there, and then I'm going to take a piece of tape and put it right across the top. You can see I went ahead and lined up the tape with that dot matrix right there. All it is a bunch of dots. You just want to make sure that your tape is straight, and once you can see that your tape is straight, you don't have to worry about the camera being installed in a crooked or weird shape or form. So we're gonna go ahead now and get our little sticky pad and get it in position. That way we can place the camera and then begin routing the wire. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a pro installer trick in case you guys manage to F this up. There's going to be some of you that even with the tape, I don't know how the hell you guys are going to screw this up. If you are one of those people, don't worry, it happens. If you're ever in a situation like that, where you have totally messed this thing up, now you're freaking out, you're like, oh my god, that is 3M tape, it's not going to come off, what do I do? Well, if you bought this, it's going to come off really easy, and since you just put it on and the sun hasn't baked into it, all you're going to want to do is just slide this through the back, and there you go. Look how easy that is. And I swear to God, that was pressed on there. So if that happens to you, do not freak out. You can quickly take it off and put it back on the way you want. This moment and explain something really critical, really important to you guys regarding airbags and wiring cables. Do not, for the love of God, ever wire a cable in front of an airbag. And the reason for that is because if this airbag deploys and you have run your cable in front of it, it's going to yank that whole cable down, yank this down, and probably smack your passenger square in the face. But if your passenger is a dick, maybe you may want to consider doing that. But legally, he could probably sue your ass. So, don't do that. What you want to do is, right back here, you see the airbag? And you see this space behind it? That is where you want to route the wire behind. So you route your wire behind it entirely, all the way through, just directly behind that, because when the airbag deploys, it's going to come down like a freaking iron curtain, and then your wire is going to be safely on this side of it, so it's not going to cut the wire connection at all. Now there's no airbags up here that I know of, so there is one giant one in here and the full curtain over here. Really take the time to go ahead, pull this down just a little bit, just so you can get your fingers back there, and then push the wire through till it gets on the other side. So after you got the weather stripping off and you got your camera in position, you're going to want to go ahead and run this wire. So to do this, you're going to pull this back just a bit, and you'll actually be able to see the part in here where you'll be able to snake this behind the airbag. It's about 3 inches from the mark. So once you get it to about there, then you'll be able to snake it up and then come all the way across. So there you go. Sneaky little snake is snuck. Now you can go ahead and shove this in position, pull it back, shove it in, and run it all the way to here and connect it. That part is not difficult. Just pull the headliner down a bit and you'll actually feel the bump. See, there's actually a bump right there. You want to make sure that you're below it and behind it. So push the cord as far back as you can. I'd probably say past the first mark on your fingers, just a little bit past it. And you'll actually feel that there's a big hollow space right here. And then you're going to go ahead and drop the wire in. Now you're going to want to head and open up your glove box, just like that, because you're going to have to take this panel off. So take this panel off, start pulling from the bottom. It'll pop off just like that. Now this is why I said this is the easiest install ever. Right here, Mercedes put this little clip that you just squeeze and it goes flying out. So here you go, here's the cable. It's gonna go right in, just like that. And then you're gonna get to this point right there and oh my God, look at that. You have a cigarette lighter right in position. Now obviously when you guys roll up your wires, use electrical tape. Don't use painter's tape like I'm just about to do. But this is just for explanation purposes. Like I said, I'm going to show you guys both ways of doing it. And it's up to you to decide on what is the way that you guys ultimately want to do it. I mean, ideally, the reason that I have to do it my way is because I run a lot of things into that cigarette lighter. So there we go. Once you have everything all nicely jumbled up like that, put your little electrical tape on it. Make sure you have plenty of space over on this side here for you to plug into your cigarette lighter. And then all you're gonna do is just take this whole thing, cover right right here. This is probably the preferred spot. So just make sure when you guys wedge it in, there's actually a cable in there. Just want to stay clear of that cable. So there it is, nicely tucked in. Just for the sake of arguing, let's go ahead and put this thing where it's supposed to go. Go ahead and show you the more complicated hard way, even though I really don't want to show you guys this way because this was too easy. And I just have a feeling there's gonna be some of you out there that are gonna want to do it this complicated way because you're like me and you don't have enough cigarette lighters inside a car. So the very first thing that you're gonna need, in addition to the other stuff that I showed you, is a hardwire kit like this. This hardwire kit is gonna make life nice and simple. And the great thing about this kit is you don't really have to tap into a fuse because it has a built-in fuse. So as long as you have access to that built-in fuse, it's going to keep the unit protected, and at the same time it will allow you to change out the fuse in case something goes wrong. So in this situation where there is no fuse panels on this side of the vehicle and there's no fuse panels on that side of the vehicle, you're stuck in limbo. You're like, well, shit, Raymond, in all your other videos you've showed me how to tap into a fuse. Well, what do I do in this case? This has the built-in fuse, so you really don't have to do that. You just have to tap into any 12-volt power. So we're up to this step. This should all look really familiar to you. I already went ahead and removed my 4,000 Chipotle napkins out of here. And what I'm going to do is remove, there's, I believe, 6 Torx bits that are holding this thing in position. You got one, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 Torx bits that are holding this thing in position. And then keep in mind you still have these 3 down here. I already started taking some of these off to speed it up. So I'm just going to go ahead, finish removing the bottom ones, pull this out, and then work on the top. Right here would make an awesome clickbait thumbnail saying that I screwed the pooch. But I did not screw the pooch. Not this time. So what we're going to do is go right here. Our pink and blue, remember, that's our positive. Our brown is our ground. You guys have a Mercedes, at least a 2010, that's a good rhyme to go by. Now what we're gonna do is blue one. Now you guys don't have to freak out because there's no power going to this, because this is an ignition 12-volt outlet, which means this line will only get power when the vehicle is turned on. So this is where we want to hook it up to. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my trusty little spade on here, and then I'll be right back in 1 millisecond. So there we go, our spade connection's on. I know what you guys are thinking, Raymond, why didn't you put a spade connection on the brown since you have to ground it? One simple reason. Why do I want to go through the aggravation of doing this again? Just back this up a centimeter and I can ground right to this metal plate. So there's no sense in me using 2 spade connections when I really don't have to. It's a philosophy that I've always felt by, that if you don't have to necessarily pinch or cut or stab any wires, don't do it. You have a ground point right here, so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that. And right in here is our fuse, which I'll show you guys what it looks like. Oh shit. There's the fuse. Simple little fuse, easy to replace. We're ready for the next step, which is hooking up the positive and the negative. We're going to go ahead and go to our positive. We're going to fold this over twice. Get a nice little thick solid connection over here. And then what I'm going to do is take a spade tip, slide it over it, and then we're going to make sure we're actually in there where we need to be. Take a pair of pliers and squeeze. Just pull this back a little bit. There we go. And this is a 1/2 inch, so I'm going to go ahead and get this 1/2 inch on here. Just loosen it a bit. There you go. It's grounded in position. So at this point what you want to do is just make sure that your hardwire kit is operating correctly. We're going to take our key insert it in here, give it a little twist. There you go. Powers up just fine. Now keep in mind it powered up a little bit slow this time, only because I left it unplugged for so long, rerouting the wires and everything. Once that capacitor fills back up, this thing powers up in seconds. Next thing we're going to do is begin to raise this back up again, and then we're going to screw it on. And I'm going to show you guys how to do this. You want to make sure you push like that. You'll hear it clicking. That's just that piece of plastic right there, getting ready to go into position. And you want the same motion that you took it out, I'm going to push it back. You'll just hear it click just like that. That easy. So I would start from the right and work your way to the left when inserting the screws back. It just hit me a better way how to run this wire and still have this fuse accessible. What I'm going to do is unplug it. Now it sounds a little bit ludicrous that I'm unplugging it. And I'm going to run it over here through that little hole. Look at that, that's perfect. It's a perfect spot for it. And I'm just going to hold it in place while I come back over to this side and replug it. Have proof that that cable is still inside the exact same position, because I did notice that when I was closing this up, the little hole that we used to run the wire is actually shared right there. And there's plenty of space for them to both share that position without bothering it whatsoever. So there you go. Everything's on. We're good to go. Let's put it all back together. Okay guys, so as you could tell, this was actually a relatively easy install by all means, especially if you guys went ahead and just put it to the cigarette lighter. That was insanely easy. That was probably 5 minutes. And if you guys went ahead and did the extra mile with the hard wire, you won't regret it, because you will still have the peace of mind knowing that your cigarette lighter is free and available for other accessories, and your camera is going to be having that constant power that you want and need. So if this is a video that you guys liked, please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button, because that's something that motivates me to go out and purchase new accessories like this 4K camera and the wind stop and all sorts of stuff, just so I can get extra video quality to show you guys how to do an install. I will catch you guys in 2 weeks. Peace. Damn it, Iggy.